Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Down goes Chris Collins. Down goes Chris Collins. Actually, we didn't get him. He got himself. I'll explain. So it looks like the swamp is draining itself out, which is very interesting. This is Republican Chris Collins, who has just submitted his resignation to Nancy Pelosi. So now that resignation will be effective on Tuesday as soon as the House goes into session and officially files that resignation. So why? What's going on with Chris Collins? Well, Chris Collins, like I said, is Republican representative in New York, and he is expected to plead guilty tomorrow to insider trading. There goes another criminal. Again, the swamp is literally draining itself, which is great. So let me explain what Chris Collins is pleading guilty to. He allegedly schemed with his son to avoid significant losses on a particular investment. This would be in a biotechnology company. So, according to prosecutors, Collins tipped off his son to confidential information about an Australian biotechnology company. Now, this is Innate Immunotherapeutics. So now Collins is a member of that board. He was actually one of the biggest shareholders, or actually the biggest shareholder on that board. They were developing something that's supposed to be incredibly revolutionary, but the clinical tests have failed. He had information that had failed before it came public, so he shared with his son the details so they could get out of that investment. So now, according to prosecutors, while at the June 2017 congressional picnic at the White House, Collins received an email from Innate Immunotherapeutics chief executive alerting the company's board that an anticipated drug trial had been a failure. Collins responded to the email, "Wow, makes no sense. How are these results even possible?" So, look, understandably, he was like freaking out, gobsmacked, right? What do you mean this had so much promise? Now, Collins then contacted his son. Now, his son owned millions of immunotherapeutic shares, according to the indictment. Within a few minutes, Collins' son had called each other 6 times before connecting and talking for 6 minutes. During that call, Collins told his son about the failed drug trial, according to the indictment, which cites phone and bank records as well as texts. With that insider knowledge, Collins and his family were able to avoid significant losses before the news became public and the company's stock price fell more than 90%. So that was a very significant savings for them. They pull out of their stock before there's public knowledge of this gigantic failure. They save tons of money. Apparently, super illegal, right? So now he and his son Cameron, as well as another family member, are scheduled to change their pleas. Which before, look, Chris Collins beforehand was like, these charges, they have absolutely no merit, none whatsoever. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Insider trading? No, we've never done insider trading. Turns out, nope, they are changing their pleas to guilty on Thursday, or they're expected to. So that tells me the case that they have against Chris Collins, irrefutable. They had to have a really, really good case. Again, if you have text messages and bank statements and emails and all this information, you can say, well, here we have you on text telling your son, pull out of the deal, because this clinical trial has failed. The stock prices are going to plummet. We're going to lose a lot of money if we do not pull out of this. And that's exactly what they did. They pulled out, saved a ton of money. And that's what their case is built on. Those texts and emails. So, now, here's what's interesting about Chris Collins, right? So again, Chris Collins, insider trader, okay, does whatever he needs to do to protect his money, his investment, right? Because, these people in power often do. Let's be honest about that. Of course, they want to keep their money. Nobody wants to lose their money. But again, being on the board and being in Congress, you have a unfair advantage over everyone else. And that's the big problem here. So now, Collins, huge fan of Donald Trump. So this is where it gets into speculation. This is where it gets kind of interesting, right? So now Collins was one of Donald Trump's earliest endorsers. Okay. Now that had nothing to do with his insider training, right? But later on, even as the Republicans were backing away, some Republicans backing away, Collins kept speaking on his behalf. Now, what's important about that is he continued to speak out in favor of Donald Trump even after his indictment. Now, the White House and other Republicans are like, stay away, right? No, we don't want anything to do with Chris Collins. I don't care how nice he is to me. Stay away from Chris Collins. But no, he continues to praise Trump. In fact, as recently as last week, the congressman issued a statement criticizing Democrats' announcement of a formal impeachment investigation of Donald Trump. Don't impeach Donald Trump. Don't impeach. No, we love Donald Trump. Don't impeach him. Now, here's what I think is the consequence of all that. I mean, yes, do I believe that Chris Collins loves Donald Trump just because he agrees with his policy? Yeah, generally. Because his policy, of course, helps people who are incredibly wealthy with the tax cuts and everything. Of course, right? Now, how you stay with Donald Trump is you scream, pardon. Please pardon me, Donald Trump. Please pardon me. Look, I'm against your impeachment. Please pardon me. Chris Collins knows he's going down. He knew he was going down, I think, for quite some time. Because, again, the evidence against him, quite irrefutable. So now, please pardon me. I don't think that's going to happen. Look, I don't know if Donald Trump really knew Chris Collins or really cared about Chris Collins at all. I know the White House is like, don't come near him. Don't come near him at all. But again, I don't know. I don't think that there is going to be a pardon situation. I think it's very, very unlikely. But, why not try? And I think that's what this situation is. That's what's him continuing to defend Donald Trump even at this point is. So, and that's just a fun little aside, a little bit of speculation, right? That said, Collins, a lot of trouble now. Again, Martha Stewart went to prison for insider trading. That's one thing, by the way, that is one crime that rich people can do that will get you locked up. Why? Because you screw over other rich people. Because then these wealthy investors, of course, they didn't have this information beforehand. And so they're like, well, we just lost a ton of money, but you knew, you didn't tell anybody. So you saved a lot of money. I lost a ton of money. Unacceptable. Again, one rule of being part of the club is that you do not betray other members of the club. That's why Bernie Madoff got in such big trouble. So Chris Collins, he's in big trouble. I wonder how long they're going to lock him up for. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a patreon.com/TYTNation set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know how I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.